Hi, this is Dr. Samantha Sweeney, and this is Just for Fun Friday, your weekly dose of how to infuse diversity into your life and the life of your kids. So I'm so excited for this week's item because I think it's so cool. It's like the coolest thing ever. It's way cooler than I ever was when I was a kid, or I am now. I'm not cool at all. So this item is probably too cool for me, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. So it's a comic book, which is part of why it's so cool. But it's different from a lot of the comic books we usually see. So I'm going to tell you more. So it's called The 99, and it's written by Naif Al-Mutawa, and it is about a bunch of kids who are superheroes, but they're not just any superheroes, they are Muslim superheroes, which is why it's so cool. I just think it's such a cool way to kind of talk about different religions in your house and to kind of introduce it to kids who may love something like comic books. In terms of the age range, I would say that it really just kind of depends. I would say 10 is probably a good starting point. I mean, this is a comic book. So it has more kind of adultish type themes, but it's about kids. So it's not going to be super inappropriate or anything like that. It's not going to have super inappropriate themes that maybe you don't want to expose your kids to. But maybe you could, buy one and leaf through it, or, there's a little trailer online that you could check out so you can see whether or not you think that it would be appropriate for your kids. So, but I think 10 is ish is probably a pretty good starting range. So let me tell you more about it. So basically the premise is these kids, find these different stones, and these stones have been kind of hidden away for generations. And they find these different stones, and these stones give them superpowers. And there's a lot of themes of these kids kind of figuring out, like, first of all, what to do with the superpowers, when to use them, should they use them for good, should they use them for evil, what is good, what is evil, do the people they know, can they really trust them, are they the people that they thought they were, all these different things that we often see in comic books, just around, the theme, the, basic premises around Islam. So it's just such a cool way to learn about a religion that maybe you're not as familiar with or you don't know as much about. And then yeah, I think the thing that's cool about it too is it can give you an opportunity to not only talk about Islam itself, but also about other religions. So how might you use this for Christianity? How much you use this for Judaism? What themes do you see that are similar? What themes do you see that are different? And then look into lots of other different types of religions as well. So it's not just, Christian, Jewish, Muslim. There are lots of other different religions in the world there too. So you can use this to talk about other ones as well, which I think is really, really cool. So on all of our Just for Fun items, we rate them on a scale of 0 to 5. And personally, I just love this one, and so I gave it a 5. But it also really has a lot of different themes. All of these kids, they're very different. It's not like, they're Muslim and so they all look the same or they all dress the same. They look different, they dress different. There are boys, there are girls, there are people with disabilities, there are people who are able-bodied. So there's really a lot of diversity infused into this one comic, which is just, it's so incredibly cool. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to kind of talk with your kid and to give them information about religion that maybe they wouldn't have thought about otherwise. So that's it for this week's Just for Fun Friday. I hope that you really enjoy it and that you go out there and you check out some of these comics and see if maybe you guys can enjoy them together, and kind of check out how these different themes for kids are kind of universal, and they kids who like comic books kind of, even though there's a theme that maybe you don't typically see in comic books, kids will like them anyway. And I think that teaches a really powerful message as well. So head on over to the website, www.culturallycompetentkids.com, where you can get a quick one-page printout of everything we just talked about today. So the age range, the different diversity themes, some questions or comments or games that you can play with your kid while you kind of are going through this comic book, and also ways to continue the conversation. Because remember, even though it's important to have fun with diversity, it's also important to keep going, to keep having these harder conversations about Islam, about religion, that maybe is not as easy to do when you're just talking about comic books. But it's important to keep going with it. So I hope you really enjoy it, and I'll see you next week for another Just for Fun Friday. Thanks for joining us for another Just for Fun Friday. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it inspired you to go out there this weekend and have even more fun with your kids. I've created something that I'm really excited to share with you, and I think you're really going to love. I've compiled this amazing book list of all different diverse books. It has different characters, different storylines, and I think you're really going to love it. It's for kids of all ages, from babies, yes, babies, all the way up to young adults. So in order to get it, go to www.culturallycompetentkids.com sign up for the newsletter and it'll be sent straight to you right away, right to your inbox. You can use it for all sorts of things. You can use it for learning time, you can use it for literacy time, or just fun snuggle time with your kids. So sign up, enjoy it, and I'll see you next week for another Just for Fun Friday.